Hello everybody, Justin from Blame Board Games here, and today I'm checking out a new announcement for a new scenario pack coming to ARKHAM Horror the card game. This was just released on the 6th of June, so Thursday. This video's coming on Saturday, so pretty quick. I did not check anything about this out. I saw the article went live, and we're doing a blind read together as we check out this announcement article here. First things first, it's called the Midwinter Gala. Second things second, and probably the most important thing, that's an ice sculpture moon beast right there. So already, I'm in. Let's see what this is all about. It's the dead of winter, and Arkham's social elite have arrived in the mist-shrouded Kingsport, Kingsport, for an exquisite gala hosted by the enigmatic Lantern Club. So this is actually something that we saw in Arkham Horror 3rd Edition, the Lantern Club, and in Kingsport. This is cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't take long before nightmarish creatures crash the festivities, and it falls to you to uncover the club's dark schemes before Arkham's most powerful leaders all meet a terrible fate. Fantasy Flight Games is proud to announce the Midwinter Gala, a brand new scenario pack for Arkham Horror the card game. In this thrilling scenario pack, 1 to 4 investigators must ally with one of 5 factions and work together to claim a powerful relic at the center of the Lantern Club's nefarious plot. Like with previous scenario packs, the Midwinter Gala can be played standalone or inserted into a scenario into a campaign as a side story. This scenario can even be played semi-competitively between different groups of investigators, as you can see who can net the highest score at the end. That's really neat. So we do a lot of, on our Patreon, we do a lot of patron game days. And this seems neat right off the bat, that there's a competitive mode, so we can actually have like different groups compete with each other to try to get scores, and also in that vein, try to get like the highest score even in your own group. That's kind of neat. Meet and greet. That's Carl Sanford right there. On a frigid winter's night, the mysterious Lantern Club has invited you and your fellow investigators and several social elites to an exquisite party at their lavish Kingsport Manor. The main attraction of this party is a renowned relic known as the Jewel of Sarnath, set to turn dreams into reality and bring nightmares to life. You're tasked by a client to acquire this powerful artifact and thwart the Lantern Club's treacherous scheme. As for who that client is, well, that's where things get interesting. Interesting indeed, okay. So we got 5 assets, 1 for each color, but it looks like they turn into enemies on their other side. Interesting. At the very beginning of this scenario, you will align with one of 5 factions of your choice. The Foundation, the Miskatonic University, the Syndicate, the Silver Twilight Lodge, or the locals of Kingsport. Okay, let's see these. What the frick? Okay. The Foundation. The authorities seem to want you to acquire the jewel by force. Good luck taking it from the Bloodless Man. When the Bloodless Man unleashed is defeated, if the Jewel of Sarnath is attached to him, attach it to his location. As an action, if Jewel of Sarnath is at your location and the Bloodless Man is not in play, take control of the Jewel of Sarnath and place 1 damage on it. So the Bloodless Man, you actually can see him if it's sticking with it. This guy back here, in the previous version, this right here, this guy back here is the Bloodless Man. We'll see if it's the same for this, but that is interesting. And in the round, if the investigators control the Jewel of Sarnath, they may spend 2 player clues as a group to advance the act. End of game scoring 4 points. If no non-weakness enemies are in play, 2 points instead if exactly 1 non-weakness enemy is in play. Okay. Miskatonic. You're assisting Dean Cadwell with acquiring the jewel. Is this one also? No, they also brackets too for this. Okay. But first you'll have to persuade Declan Pierce to give it up. Declan Pierce cannot be damaged or leave play with the jewel while the Jewel of Sarnath is attached to him. If Declan Pierce is at your location, parlay, place up to your clues on Declan Pierce. Then if 3 player or more clues are on him, take control of the Jewel of Sarnath and add Declan Pierce to the victory display. At the round, if the investigators control the Jewel of Sarnath, they may advance 1 point. So endgame scoring is 1 point per 2 player total cards in hand among all investigators to a maximum of 4. Interesting. The Syndicate, it's a job and nothing more. If you can abscond with the jewel, you'll know you'll be handsomely rewarded. Spend player clues, look at a mystery, face down card beneath your location. Lightning bolt during your turn. If there are fewer clues on a location with a mystery, draw that mystery. Objective, find the Jewel of Sarnath and escape. At the end of the round, if an investigator, the lobby controls the Jewel of Sarnath, the investigators may spend 4 player clues as a group to advance the act, and then 1 point per 3 player resources among all investigators to a maximum of 4 points. Okay, so I'm very curious if this is going to also change like the setup stuff for it, because this one's referencing Bloodless Man, this one is referencing Declan Pierce, this one is a mystery, so it seems like each of these have different mechanics too. Carl Sanford has promised you a lavish reward for acquiring the jewel, but can you really trust him? No, you can't. You can't trust Carl Sanford. You try to sense the jewel's presence, discard the top card of the encounter deck, you may draw that card, group limit twice per round. Objective, find the Jewel of Sarnath. Okay, so it's going to be in the encounter deck. That's It's got to be in the encounter deck. This is kind of funky, isn't it? At the end of the round, the investigators control the Jewel of Sarnath. They may spend 5 player clues as a group to advance the act. End the game, scoring 1 point for each treachery with no victory points in the victory display, to a maximum of 4. And then locals of Kingsport. Bane has hinted at a dangerous power of the jewel. Perhaps you can wrest control of it from Declan Pierce. This nightmare will end. When Declan Pierce is defeated, attach the Jewel of Sarnath to its location. If the Jewel of Sarnath is attached to your location, you attempt to purge the corruption from the jewel. Test Fist or Foot 3. If you succeed, remove 1 token from it. You may take control of it. Okay. And then the round, if the investigators control the Jewel of Sarnath and has no tokens on it, they may spend 3 player clues as a group to advance the act. 4 points minus 1 point for each card in the guest deck. Okay, so all of these are like interacting in different ways. The decision greatly shapes how the rest of the scenario will look for you. Look at me. I'm a genius. I figured it out. I solved the mystery. Determine not only your objective, but also which guest allies you'll have access to during the events of the gala. For example, if you ally with the Miskatonic University, you could recruit the medical examiner, Dr. Myra Badry, or the facility curator, Lucas Tetlow, to aid you during the scenario. I'll check out these cards in a second. I'm just going to finish this paragraph. Likewise, if you chose the Silver Twilight Lodge, then you could gain assistance of lodge members like Prudence Douglas or Sarah Van Shaw. If you're playing the Midwinter Gala as a side story in a larger campaign, then you may even get to add one of these allies to your deck for the rest of the campaign, assuming you survive the night. Cool! Dr. Maya Badry notably has this icon up here. Interesting. Okay. So 2 cost takes up this ally slot. Your maximum hand size increased by 2. Exhaust or investigate. Your base book value is equal to, for this investigation, X, or X equal number of cards in your hand. That seems kind of neat. Lucas Tetlow, let's go. At the last clue, discover your location. Exhaust Lucas Tetlow. Search the top 9 cards of your deck for an item asset and draw it. If it's a relic, gain 2 resources. If it's a tome, you may play it. If it's a tool, discover 1 clue to connect location. That's a cool card. That's a neat card. Prudence Douglas uses 3 portents. As a lightning bolt during your turn, spend 1 portent and exhaust Prudence Douglas. Look at the top 4 cards of the counter deck. Discard up to 2 non-elite cards from among them and put the rest back on top in any order. That's pretty strong. I mean, like, assets that you earn during scenarios, like side scenarios, should generally be strong. It's kind of like why you do them. And then we have Sarah Van Shaw. Spend up to 2 resources and exhaust Sarah Van Shaw. Fight. Add your brain value to your skill value with this attack. For each resource spent, this attack deals +1 damage. That's all pretty strong, too. Alright. Then we got Carl Sanford. Alright, this is going to reference him. Hey, here's the bloodless man hanging down here. Not everyone you encounter during this party is friendly, though. After you choose which of the 5 factions is your allied faction, one of the remaining factions becomes your rival. That's neat. Every faction has a leader character that can provide a lot of assistance when they are allied, but they can also seriously hinder you as your rival. For example, the infamous Carl Sanford can boost your willpower and grant you additional arcane slot when you ally with the Silver Twilight Lodge. However, if the Lodge is a rival faction, then Sanford can actually lower your willpower while being completely immune to damage. Naturally, the guest allies associated with the rival factions are off limits, and to top it all off, each faction has its own signature rival encounter card to hinder your efforts further. Okay. I mean, it seems to be like a good chunk of replayability here, which is kind of neat. Getting a lot of also like Hotel Excelsior Express vibes for this one, which is neat. Seems like there's a good chunk, at least in the announcement article, which is all about replayability, like all about like advertising it. It seems that the replayability is high, so I'm curious. It's very interesting. Carl Sanford, our boy. So this is when he is your friend. You get +1 brain, you have 1 additional arcane slot. After a revelation effect on a non-weakness treachery is cancelled, exhaust Carl Sanford, add that treachery to the victory display, draw 1 card. When he leaves play, remove him from the game. And the other version, just a 3/3, aloof hunter cannot be damaged. Each investigator's location gets -1 brain. Very neat. I like it. Alright. Since your rivals aren't really your enemies, not in the traditional sense at least, you'll need to find a way to deal with them so you can focus on completing your objective. For example, if the locals of Kingsports are your rival, then you'll need to parlay with their leader, William Bain, and convince him you aren't affiliated with the Lantern Club. And he'll back off, taking the unlucky treachery with him, which, considering how rough that treachery can be, is well worth the effort. Okay, so locals of Kingsports, which we've seen. So this is the rival, so each one's going to have a rival card as well. The locals don't seem to be taking kindly to your involvement. Perhaps you can show them you don't mean any harm. Set up, shuffle the set-aside unlucky treachery into the counter deck. Put the set-aside William Bain card into play at the lead investigator's location, enemy side face up. As an action, if William Bain is at your location, parlay, test any skill 4. If you succeed, place one of your clues on this story card. Forced, when there's 1+1 player clues on this story card, add it and the William Bain to the victory display, search the counter deck and discard pile for... and all players for unlucky remove from the game and shelf the encounter deck. So here's William Bain. Aloof cannot be damaged. Each investigator's location cannot commit cards to skill tests. Yikes. Okay. And then unlucky. Okay. Surge cannot be canceled. Play in your threat area. You get -2 to each of your skills. That's okay. I dig it. Alright, we got the Bloodless Man here. Naturally, the people of the Gala aren't the only things you'll encounter. This wouldn't be an Arkham Horror scenario without some monsters, and the Midwinter's Gala's baddest beast comes in the form of the Bloodless Man. This masked lurker creeps his way around the Gala with an eerie pale lantern in hand, slowly horrifying you and causing your guest allies to become spellbound. When this happens, the spellbound card is flipped face down, becoming isolated for nearly all game effects and no longer providing you with any assistance. You can restore spellbound allies by taking hold of the lantern yourself, but you'll have to wrest from the Bloodless Man's grasp. Just be careful not to anger him too much. Okay, so he's a 3-player 4. Humanoid Lantern Club Elite, aloof and patrol nearest location with the guest. Forced, when this enemy is defeated, instead flip him over, exhaust him, and heal all but 3-player damage from him. Okay. When the investigation phase ends, if this enemy is ready, deal 1 horde each investigator and guest asset at this location. If the pale lantern is attached to this enemy, each guest asset at this location becomes spellbound. Okay. Pale Lantern, if the Bloodless Man has 1 or more damage on him or is in the victory display, test Fist or Foot 3. If you succeed, take control of the Pale Lantern and flip it over. Any investigator may trigger this ability. Okay. So then I imagine it flips over into this one. Flip over a spellbound card at your location. Exhaust the Pale Lantern. Test Fist or Foot 2. If you succeed, place 1 damage on it. Then if there's 4 damage on it, you break it and add to the victory display, ignoring its force to flag. Flip this card over and flip over each spellbound card. Okay, interesting. We're still going, huh? We're still going. Okay, we mentioned earlier this scenario can be played semi-competitively. And this is thanks to the optional best guess variant rules. Okay. I can make that a bit bigger for you too. This one's... For more challenging and thematic experience, this variant allows up to 5 groups of players to play the scenario simultaneously in standalone mode and compete against each other for the highest score. Each group allies with a different faction, and their rival faction is always one of the other group's allied factions. Okay, for example, there are 3 groups. One is the Foundation, one is the Syndicate, and one is the Silver Twilight Lodge. It'll be like, yeah, so Group A will be the Syndicate, Group B will be the Lodge, and Group C the Foundation. Neat. During the game, the players of your rival group can fiddle with your encounter deck each time the agenda advances, potentially stacking it with their faction-specific encounter cards to hinder your efforts. Interesting. Aside from that, the main source of competition comes in the form of endgame scoring. During the scenario, there are all sorts of various tasks your group can try to compete for points. These range from collecting clues to recruiting guest allies to defeating the Bloodless Man, and they're worth pursuing even if you aren't playing the best guest variant. The amount of experience you earn for completing the scenario scales the number of points you earn while playing it, so make sure to be on your best behavior while attending this esteemed event. This is going to be a night to remember with over a dozen high-profile guests and horrific nightmares made manifest. The Midwinter Gala is one party no fan of Arkham Horror the card game will want to miss. Look forward to stepping foot at the ballroom when it hits the stores in hits store shelves in August. Interesting. Honestly, it sounds pretty sweet. I'm mixed sick and sweet there. I'm into it. I think it's neat. It's a very neat pitch. The stuff seems kind of cool. I like the replayability. I really like the semi-competitive variant. I think that's going to be really fun for patron game days in the future. I think this is a really cool side scenario. There he is again, the Ice Sculpture Moon Beast. Honestly, I want one of these for my house. Do you think Julie would let me have it? That'd be kind of sick. Yeah. So we'll have some gameplay on this on the channel once it comes out for sure. But yeah, and there's a link to this if you want to check it out on your own. I'm interested. I think that I really like this. Just seeing this unlucky card, I think that's really cool. And I'm curious to see what the other ones are, if they're also like reverses of things that exist. Yeah, like of player cards. I'm intrigued. I think this is really neat. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, if you did not know about this already. And if you did know about this already, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I'd be happy to hear. And I'm excited to try out this Midwinter Gala in August, because, you know, I mean, I guess that is... When is Midwinter? Is Midwinter the summer? Or is Midwinter, like, February? Who knows? I sure don't. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a good one. And as always, a GG's.